If you get caught up in all of the stuff around the edges, maybe he may mistweet from time to time. My point is, who cares? Your job as a smart investor is to separate the facts and the news from the fiction and the noise. And all of that stuff doesn't matter. They don't like his style.
It's not just that.
It is
come on,
just
there's smart people like Jim Chanos. He's a smart investor. He's not betting just on his style.
Jim Chanos makes money once a decade. And while the market rips up, the guy just bleeds money and he's never on CNBC. And every time something works, he's there for 5 minutes. Great for Jim Chanos. Fantastic as a hedge in a portfolio where you have 1% in a short fund. But the reality is, being long equities makes sense. Being long innovation makes sense. Betting against entrepreneurs that are changing the world has never been a profitable endeavor. Why start now?
I'm sure Mr. Chanos is going to take issue with your numbers and some of your comments. And
I'm happy to post my returns against Chanos anytime he wants.
Money is my tool for change. So money is a necessary evil. So when I think about doing things, I have to think about it from a broad investing mindset of, can I generate returns? Because if I do, I can take this money and do something really awesome with it. I can fund Alzheimer's research. I can do something over here in education, whatever. Get the fucking money. I'm serious. Do not get it. It is going to be made. It is going to be allocated. And you have a moral imperative to make sure that if you have a point of view that matters and you want to reflect it, you get it. I'm going to go get it. Other people are going to go get it. And then it will be about a competition of views. And don't wrap yourself in all this liberal kind of bullshit about oh my God, money, blah. No, stop. Here's how the fucking world works, okay? It drives the world for better or for worse. Economic incentives drive entire swaths of populations to behave in very, very predictable, and then when you take it away, unpredictable ways. I want the fucking money. I will play the goddamn game and I'll win. Because I want the money. Because I want to extend my influence. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want a return. It's fine.
Yeah. He wants the money.
Because I want to win. I so deeply want to win. In the absence of capital, you're irrelevant. With capital, you're powerful. And then you decide. In small ways, in medium-sized ways, in large ways, right? It just depends on the scale of capital that you have. And so that's what's necessary now in capitalism, which is that we have to come back to what is it really? Is it an economic system? Yes. But it is a philosophy as well, right? And it's a philosophy that says we will vote for the change we intend based on the views that we have. And when you look at the most successful people that operate in these tentacles, that's what they do. Look at the Koch brothers. That's what they do. They have built a network of influence based on capital. Their worldview is propagated into the world at an unbelievably aggressive rate that has been compounding for decades. That is genius. It is genius. It doesn't matter whether you agree with their worldview. The question is, what's the counterweight to their worldview? Can you name one? Can you name a group of people that operate in the exact same way, methodically, meticulously assembling capital, influence, assets, who believe the opposite? Irrespective of what you think of the Kochs, you want both views out in the world, at scale. Well, right now you have this and you don't have this. I want a tip. And it's so, it gives me so much joy because it's you'll have a $300 or $400 bill. In some cases, you tip $500 or $1,000 and you close it and they're expecting $40. And I'll get a little emotional, but they will come out to you and it's transformational. And so it's so great. It's just little things like that mean a lot to people. And just to be anonymously generous like that, I think is it's a great gift that I have the ability to do. That's why I do it. I love it.
What
does that mean for profitability for this company?
I think the profitability of this business is going to look as good as one of the best software companies around, and that's why I was so excited. You're in the business of hardware, but it looks like software, and that is very different than many of the other technology-oriented hardware companies that have gone public recently. So this is a business that at scale will have almost 70% operating margins. There are already 600 plus customers that have paid $80 million, about $120 million in future business. There's 3,000 or 4,000 more after today. I suspect there'll be many more thousands after that who want to give us money. And so I think understanding that demand will be really important for people to get comfortable around the long-term projections. And then the second is about George's execution ability and his team's path to getting these rockets in the air on a more and more frequent basis. Owning that currency and allowing water to find its level, particularly in the developing markets, is huge. And if you don't think that this thing is going to rip, when Brazil goes through a devaluation, when the Indian rupee continues to get crushed, when you have all of this money trying to get in and out of these countries where there's massive, political instability or monetary or financial instability, you're being naive. It doesn't matter what happens in the United States. It doesn't matter what happens in Japan. It doesn't matter what happens in the EU. It doesn't matter. It matters what happens in Argentina, in Venezuela, in Kenya, in Brazil, in India, in Russia, in China. And when you look at where all the activity is, it's in all of those markets.
Yep.
This will be born out of a people's desire to have unfettered access to capital. Let's talk Bitcoin. 2012, I was introduced to it. I started to accumulate. 2013, I wrote an article. And
so hold on, just so we know and can feel bad about ourselves, you're accumulating it at what price?
Well, my dollar cost average is around 100 and something.
And you've held it, everything you bought?
Well, at one point, myself and so I was introduced to it by a person. I asked him if I could disclose his name. He said no. But he, myself, and another person, all three of us relatively well known in the Valley, we started. At one point, we owned almost 5% of the entire float in 2013. We've sold, they've sold, et cetera, et cetera. I wish we had kept it all. We didn't. It's fine. But then I wrote an article, and I said, you know what? There's so much asymmetric upside here. This is a thing that either goes to, at the time I said, roughly the value of gold. And at the time, it was about $100 a coin. And so there's very little downside. There's all this asymmetric upside. I said, take 1% of your net worth and buy this schmuck insurance. This is a fantastic fundamental hedge and store of value against autocratic regimes and banking infrastructure that we know is corrosive to how the world needs to work properly. I think this thing is $100,000 a coin, probably in the next 3 to 4 years. And I think it is, in the next 20 years, $1 million a coin. So there you have it. You could buy the S&P 500 index, buy 99% of that. So if you have $100 to invest, what I'm saying is...
Put $1.
Put $1. And the reason that $1 is so valuable is that it is fundamentally not correlated to the other 99. And just on the off chance that all the people that manage the 99 may not totally know what they're doing, the $1 may actually save us all.
How does owning Bitcoin affect change?
I think it's progressing a set of financial changes that fundamentally empower a distributed class and disadvantages entrenched interests. And from that perspective, I think we should absolutely want that type of thing to win. And so when I specifically buy Bitcoin, what I'm thinking to myself is I'm using my own personal capital to hopefully prop up and support the emergence of something that would rip apart the existing financial system. And if it does, God bless it. And what will happen is individuals who are on the right side of history, on the right side of justice, will benefit. Individuals will be able to get access to capital easier. Individuals will be able to transact cheaper.
What soul searching are you doing right now on that?
I feel tremendous guilt. I think we all knew in the back of our minds, even though we feigned this whole line of like, there probably aren't any really bad unintended consequences. I think in the back, deep recesses of our minds, we kind of knew something bad could happen. But I think the way we defined it was not like this. it literally is a point now where I think we have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is truly where we are. And I would encourage all of you, as the future leaders of the world, to really internalize how important this is. If you feed the beast, that beast will destroy you. If you push back on it, we have a chance to control it and rein it in. And it is a point in time where people need to hard break from some of these tools and the things that you rely on. The short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops that we have created are destroying how society works. No civil discourse, no cooperation, misinformation, mistruth. And it's not an American problem. This is not about Russian ads. This is a global problem.